Hello guys, welcome back to another video. I'm here on the channel and today is a bit of a different episode. It's not going to be entirely on Call of War. In fact, it's going to be all on this Google document, but I'm going to be explaining all of the rules. I created a big list of them. This is all of the rules on the game. So yeah, let's hop straight into it. We'll start with the general rules, which are here, which are the overall general rules that are probably the most important to know. So number 1, you can't use gold. Number 2, there are no blueprints allowed. Both of those give you an unfair advantage. 3, no spies. You can waste your money on counter espionage, and that means if you catch someone using spies, you can report it to the neutral admin and they can get a warning and stuff like that. Number 4, non-aggression pacts can't be broken for 2 days after signing it, and countries can only switch ideologies once per game. That's rule number 5. Rule number 6, no spamming or debating in the newspaper, only good quality newspaper articles please. Rule number 7, 2 days is equal to 1 in real life year. No, I've got that wrong, haven't I? Two days in real life equal to 1 year. Sorry about that. Now let's look at the war rules. Rule number 8, no AI wars until day 2. Rule number 9, no player v player wars until day 3. Rule number 10, wars must be posted publicly in the newspaper and they must have a legitimate casus belli. They must have a good reasoning and it must be posted publicly, and you must ping the player you're declaring war on unless it's AI. And rule number 11 states that war declarations must be 100 words plus. I'm not going to be counting all of them, but you know, not 5-word shitty articles, it has to be of a good standard. Rule number 12, after war declaration is made on a player, you must wait a minimum of 3 hours before any military contact. So I declare war on someone, I can't start attacking them, I can't start moving forward until 3 hours after I've declared war. That's only on a player, I don't give a fuck about AIs. They can all die, I don't really care. Rule number 13, you can't fully annex a player nation unless they are either inactive or give you permission. And then linked with war rules are the peace negotiation rules, so I'll go through these. Rule number 14, if a country has clearly lost the war, they must enter peace negotiations. And rule number 15 says if solutions such as puppeting, war reparations, loss of land, and change of ideology are common peace terms. Basically what this means, puppet, they're in control of you pretty much. You're a puppet of them, puppets are controlled, so yeah. War reparations, you have to pay them money for losing the war. You lose some of your lands, it's a punishment. So say Germany's invading France, and France have clearly lost, then Germany can be like, right, give me Paris. And then they'll be like, that's a loss of land. Or a change of ideology, kind of goes hand in hand with puppeting. But yeah, those are basically the main. Now moving on to ideology rules, this is quite a big part of the game, which I'm just introducing now, and I'm hoping it'll be good. But in this game now, there are 4 main ideologies: democracy, fascism, communism, and non-aligned. And it will take you 2 days to change ideologies, and you can either RP it as a civil war, or you can do it politically, you can do it however you want, but as long as it takes 2 days. And when you're changing, you're kind of in like a transition period, you're not in any of them. However, changing from fascism to communism, or vice versa, takes 4 days, because fascists and communists hated each other. Changing from democracy to fascism takes 3 days, because obviously they're kind of opposite ideologies. And then changing from non-aligned to anything else only takes 1 day, because non-aligned is kind of neutral, so they have a neutral perspective on things. And then different ideologies have different strengths and different weaknesses. Now hopefully this should balance out the game a lot more. Democracy. They can only declare war if they have claims on land, such as me, the United Kingdom in this game. I have a claim on Ireland to unite the full United Kingdom for Charles. Democracies can trade with the neutral admin and other nations. They can only join democratic coalitions, they can't be in the same coalition as a communist or as a fascist, and are allowed 4 other allies, so on share map basis. So that's for democracies, they're positives, they have a lot of allies and they can trade. But they can't declare war freely, so they don't get a lot of lands, etc, etc. Less resources. but they make up for that with the other allies, and they can trade with the neutral admin and other nations. Fascism. They can declare war freely, so they don't need any claims, but they do need a good reason. But yeah, they don't need claims on it. They cannot trade with the neutral admin or other players. I should probably put here, unless they are fascist. But other fellow fascist nations can trade with each other, but fascists can't trade with communists or democracies. Don't need to put a trade embargo, but they just can't trade. Fascists can only join fascist coalitions, and they're allowed 2 other allies. So in total there'll be 3, whereas democracies have 5. So there's a little negative for the fascists, but fascism, they can declare war freely. Now communism is a bit of a different one. They can only declare war with a good reason. So they can't declare war freely, they don't need claims, but they can only declare war with good reason. They can trade with neutral admin and other players, so that's a positive for them. They can only join communist coalitions, and they've got more than fascists but less than democracies. They can only have 3 other allies. So that's communism. And then non-aligned, they can't declare war unless they have claims. They can trade with other nations in the neutral admin. They can't join coalitions, that's one of the big ones. And then they're allowed 3 other allies. So non-aligned kind of sucks, doesn't have many positives, you're kind of neutral. It's not very nice for someone to invade you, but yeah, that's pretty much all of the rules for ideologies. It's going to be a big part of the game, and I'm hoping it will be very good, and it will help balance out the game a bit more, and you don't have Nazi Germany fucking the whole of Europe. Now we move on to coalition rules. You're only allowed 3 nations per coalition, and only 2 major powers or superpowers per coalition. Coalitions must be aligned to your ideology. We went through that with the ideologies. You can have share map alliances with other players, but your coalition is at the in-game, and you can only have 3. Other rules. International waters, they are a thing. Country has a right to not allow other ships near their coast, and if you're too close it could be an act of war. But you know, there's not really a real thing about it. There's not like a law saying if you're that close to the land then you're out of international waters. But if you're in the middle of the Mediterranean, it's pretty much international waters. So that's that. Rule number 26, you can't attack the neutral admin under any circumstances. That is pretty much obvious. And if you need to report any form of violation of these rules, report it either to the neutral admin or me, Lone Walker. You can find me on Discord. Now, puppet rules. This is important just to clear up what a puppet is. Puppets have no original reason to rebel against their overlords, so you can't just rebel against your overlord. Sorry. At the very start of the game, you have no reason to. It's unrealistic roleplay. Puppets can only rebel if they have good reasoning. For example, Overlord is not protecting you enough, Overlord is charging you too much tax, and Overlord is not supporting you enough. So that's basically reasons to rebel against it. Those are perfectly good reasons, and the same goes for Overlord if they want to attack their puppet. They can only do that for good reasoning. Say the puppet is not cooperating, puppet is making decisions without you, which is strictly forbidden, and a puppet rebels against you, then those are all perfectly good reasons for you to attack them. And then, yeah, a puppet must give their overlord a share map, whilst the overlord gives the puppet a right of way. So the puppet can't see what the overlord troops are, but the overlord can see what the puppet's troops are. That is what would probably happen in real life. Starting puppets are as follows. The UK has India, Australia, Canada, South Africa and Egypt, whilst Japan has Manchukuo, the Soviet Union has Mongolia. So those are all starting puppets, but they can gain independence only if they have good reasoning. If they try to rebel without good reasoning, the roleplay will be abrogated. Puppets must have their overlord's consent if they want to sign treaties, make agreements or send trades. This includes going to war or any major decisions. Now if this happens, that's a reason for the overlord to get annoyed and attack their puppet. But yeah, that's basically to clear up what the puppet rules are. Yeah. Okay, we've got a little new mechanic which I'm going to try out, which is the League of Nations. So the League of Nations meet every year to try and keep peace. Here are all the starting members of the League of Nations. I'm not going to read them out. but when you're playing in the roleplay, you can see if you're here. The Switzerland, which is the neutral admin, the United Kingdom and France are heads of the League of Nations and have the power to call emergency meetings. Basically, the whole point of the League of Nations is to try and keep peace throughout the world, and all of these nations here will try and prevent it. Now, if a nation is being certainly aggressive, for instance, Italy is being aggressive in Europe, then of course the League of Nations can have a vote, and if majority wins, Italy will get booted out of the League of Nations and they can be sanctioned. So this will try and stop fascist nations attacking and causing war. Now, neutral admin rules. You cannot attack the neutral admin, which is Tibet or Switzerland. So you can't attack Tibet in the game, and you can't attack Switzerland in the game. He is available to trade with you if your ideology allows it, and they are RPing as Switzerland, but in game they are Tibet, so that's something to understand. And you'll find the neutral admin in Discord if you need to find him. Here are all the starting ideologies as well. You can find your nation and see what ideology you are. I think I've missed a few out, I'll fill them in a bit later. But yeah, that's pretty much all the rules. Hopefully it's not too complicated, should be fine to understand. And I hope this will bring us all a nice RP game, which has just started. So if you're watching this video and you're on the country list, please join the game. Code and password is on the server. So thank you all for watching. My Discord link is in the description below if you want to join. Highly recommend it. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.